don't know if we had to have, all right, really quick, here's the question before the show. If we had to have one thing sponsor us, that's like sponsoring everybody.
HelloFresh.
Oh,
Trident.
Raid Shadow Legends.
I mean, the money might be higher there, but I feel like if they give us free samples,
that's the
HelloFresh
winner.
just feeding me,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good one.
I like chewing gum.
I know you do, because you said that without missing a beat.
No, it's Trident.
It wasn't even Stride or anything like that. It was a fun advertising.
Are they advertising on YouTube?
No,
You just want
they
them
can start
to.
here.
Anyway, Raid Shadow Legends. They're sponsoring everybody. It's really funny. Anyway, so clap sync on 3. 1, 2, 3. He's good.
Too quick for me.
He's good.
Didn't think I was gonna do it.
Welcome. Trying something new.
Yeah.
I don't think it worked.
Interesting.
To the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts as usual. Just the three of us. That's Nathan. That's Mason. I'm Dylan. And wait, guys,
Where is he?
where is he? Did you?
Is he actually alive?
Oh God.
We thought we lost him.
We had to leave him.
We had to leave him. So, wow, just then, Price is actually not here. He is on Mars.
Whoa.
He said that, and I quote, "I'm the best method host ever for doing this." And then it sounds like a lot of fart noises. I don't know.
Yeah.
After that.
That'll make more sense later.
Yeah, I'm sure
Whenever
that-
we get to the scores, you'll understand.
Yeah, so Price couldn't make it because he's, we left him on that fucking planet, Mars. So he's there, doing his best, Matt Damon method acting, which makes sense, he's blonde too. So, yeah, that tracks, we're gonna leave the blonde guy behind. Can I be Jessica Chastain? She's fire.
Yeah, as long as I could be Kate Mara.
Damn, that's a good second pick. You get to be, clearly you're gonna be Bucky
Michael
Barnes.
Pena?
No.
Oh, Bucky, yeah.
Yeah, he's got...
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, he's gotta be Sebastian Stan. Anyways, what movie are we talking about today, Mason?
We're talking about The Martian, relatively newer movie.
Yeah.
It's basically a movie that a big crew is on a mission to Mars, gathering up some soil, doing some research, testing, stuff like that. And they have to skedaddle because I guess like the biggest windstorm of Mars history comes through.
Yeah.
Anyways, while they're escaping, Matt Damon's character kind of gets like punctured, like
An antenna high fives him.
yeah, an antenna says hello in the worst way.
A big satellite one.
Hits his biometric feed,
Mhm.
which then makes him appear as dead.
Yeah, and then the crew ends up leaving him because they assume that he is dead, and then later found out that he is alive. But anyways, he's on Mars for at least a year and a half.
Well, how many souls?
Souls?
Is that?
Evidently, they're probably a little different up there.
Is what, like 500-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Five-
it gets more
580,
because it's
I think.
smaller and further out, right? That's not...
But yeah, basically Matt Damon just has to learn how to survive, grow potatoes, and
So many potatoes.
So many potatoes.
He has to
and then-
smell everybody's poop.
Crazy stuff happens while he's up there, and yeah.
And hijinks and
Okay,
shit.
so I stopped myself from like an initial interjection, and I don't know, like I'm not a scientist or anything, and I don't know the validity of this storm, but the atmosphere of Mars is like 0.6% that of Earth. So the idea that there could be a storm that could actually push enough like volume of actual air at something to do what it was doing at the beginning of this movie, I find highly doubtful.
Okay.
But again, I don't actually know, so maybe that is realistic, but that's the opening that feels a little absurd.
Yeah.
And this movie has a few different points where it's just like the science is like, maybe.
We're getting really loosey-goosey with it, right?
I'm no expert, but it does seem...
I could also argue, though, that, like, what do people understand? Windstorm, right? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
tornadoes.
Yeah, like,
they're like, well, it's not going to be a flood.
You need some kind of catalyzing event.
Yeah.
You need something happening that makes everybody skedaddle, but doesn't also leave the whole place truly destroyed to
Trashed.
the point to where
Yeah.
it cannot be used.
Like an earthquake or just
So
massive
yeah,
meteor
and
shower.
and also, I mean, the idea of a sandstorm on Mars is such a cliche.
Yeah, it's a Hollywood move, right? Yeah.
But I mean, they do happen. There are dust storms. I don't think they're like
that harsh.
tip over your spaceship.
I was gonna say tip over a
Yeah.
6,000 pound.
Yeah.
I mean, and if it's gonna be realistic, I don't know why they didn't just go with Mars sandworms.
Yeah,
You
right.
know.
Dune.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why they were there, right? To collect
sandworms.
to get spice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the spice.
right. It fuels the universe.
I still haven't seen that movie yet.
Have you
Dude,
not?
oh my god,
Wait until the second one comes out. Then you can watch them
yeah,
both.
back to back.
It's like a treat that I'm just withholding from myself. I know I'm probably going to love it.
He's gonna fucking love
It's
this movie.
pretty, but like
No, this is a Nathan. I really like this movie, but I know Nathan movies now.
Yeah.
This is a Nathan movie, but we'll get back to Dune.
Yeah.
We
Well,
need
do
to,
we want to check in with Price and see what his initial thoughts
Yes.
were
Yeah.
for this movie?
So-
I feel like that's a good place for us to start off. So, Price.
Price.
Can you hear
gotta-
us, Price?
and clap.
And then
There we go.
yeah. So thanks, Price, for your wonderful insight as always. Yeah. So I've got a gripe with this movie on rewatch.
Okay.
There's too many big name fucking actors in this movie. It is distracting. Every actor has been a star of something at some point or another,
Yeah.
and it's just like the first time I watched this, I remember thinking, okay, whatever. This is just a very well acted cast, I guess. You know, every role was not insignificant. And then on rewatch with it, I was just like, why is this Kate Mara? Why is this Michael? Like, okay, Michael Pena. I'm like, all right, kind. This feels very Michael Pena role. And I'm like, Jessica Chastain, sure. Kate Mara feels a little extra. Sebastian Stan now it just feels like we just had a bunch of friends get together and make a movie. And then it was like, let's go back to NASA. And then
Jeff
NASA,
Daniels,
Jeff
Kristen
Daniels,
Wiig.
Sean Bean.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? Why are they all
Okay.
famous?
No,
Like,
no. So
The girl on the desk.
I mean,
Mackenzie
the answer to
Davis.
that
Mackenzie
is
Davis.
Ridley Scott probably has the pull to
Yeah.
get everybody. He
I
wants.
get that, but it's so extra.
No,
I mean,
so
yes,
it's
it
not
does-
like an expendable situation where like everyone is like yanking at the screen. No, it's my movie. No, it's
No.
my movie. This
There-
isn't like an Italian Job where like, you know, all of them have the same amount of like screen time like that matters. They're all just sort of like playing their part. Like Jeff Daniels is
Yeah.
basically the same guy as like the guy in the newsroom
Yeah.
where he's like I'm the director of NASA.
Smart,
blah, blah,
cynical,
blah.
like,
Yeah,
right,
like
right,
it's not taking away, I don't think, from the movie. Same thing with Donald Glover.
I feel like Donald, like
Donnie
and
G.
Again, I don't necessarily
DG.
think that it's his acting, but I do think the character as it is written is too absurd to exist in a what is meant to be a very grounded,
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Like a funny story, humorous, lighthearted at times, but not something where his character fits.
Needs to be like,
Yeah.
that wonky. Yeah.
Changing the tone for it to be like Hollywood entertaining because they kind of had a lull in like they had they kind of have like the dreary part of the middle where they're like, well, I don't know, maybe we
And
just-
to give some context, his character is just a
Mathematician?
mathematical super genius
Yeah.
that is asked to do something and then just like it's like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do, and they're like, what are you gonna do? And he just doesn't tell them, and he just goes off and is like, I need time with the supercomputer.
Mm.
It's like it's a very absurd thing that nobody would actually do. Like if
Yeah.
you've got an idea that is a good idea
that he's talking
you're
to
not
his
just
boss
gonna,
about, right?
Yeah, like
yeah.
To your superior, you're not gonna be like, oh, it's a secret.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. That it was distractingly weird and out of place.
Yeah. I also don't like that Kate Mara's poop was the smelliest. Based on Matt Damon's.
Matter.
Yeah, he's like, God, Johannes.
It doesn't. We haven't
And
brought
I'm
anything
and
of
I'm
any
con-
value
and,
yet.
and I'm convinced Michael Pena's has the smelliest poop in that
Oh
crowd.
my god.
So that it's the facts. I need the facts if they're gonna keep this close
If
to the chest.
anything, mention like how often they're just mentioning the the disco music over
Oh,
and
God,
over
yeah.
and over,
Yeah.
or like how
And they just keep
Joanna
playing
is.
it. Like he goes on about how he hates it, but he has it playing all
All
the
the
time.
time.
I didn't mind that as much, but it is just into the ground over and over. Or how Kate Mara's character is like the biggest nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it, but he just keeps going on and on.
She knows how to tech.
The what was it? The space gorgon.
It was a leather helmet or leather goddesses of blah 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 blah
Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
of Mars or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do think that this movie it plays that comedy pretty darn well.
Mhm.
Sometimes it feels pretty out of place, but it actually does run with it really well. Just because there will be a terrible situation, just he's like giving you these like just flat lines, and then a disco drop,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just looks at the camera, and it's all
stop, baby.
exactly
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the
Like-
thing blows up with him in it,
Yeah.
and then later he's just like, "All right, well, I'm gonna fix it."
Yeah. Turns out I blew myself up, just like random.
Yeah.
Just starts recording himself immediately
Yeah,
after
he's
he
still
blew up and still
yeah,
like
still
smokes
yeah.
coming off of him.
Now that part I believe is highly believable. As somebody who podcasts way too much of his life, like if I had just got blown up, that's the first thing I would do is record it
Gotta
and be
record
like,
it.
"Bro,
This is
You
real."
know,
It's like I might still be on fire.
yeah, but that's good comedy. That's good. That's good entertainment. I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, how we felt about like I want to say like the drama of this movie, right? Because this movie is like effectively still a drama at its core. It's a drama
absolutely.
engine with like it. But I don't know. On this rewatch, I remember thinking I was a little bit more engaged with it, and then like this time I was just like, I don't know if it's because I knew he was gonna get off the planet. Spoiler, and he's gonna get like rescued and all that. But something about this time where I was just like, who cares? I know you're just gonna fucking eat your potato. Like, I don't know. It was, and this was rewatches for both of you guys too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
So I don't. How did the drama land for it this time around?
Okay. If you want to talk about lulls in the movie,
Mhm.
I was completely on board with the first 2/3 of this movie. The last third of this movie drug on so long.
Mm.
It kept doing this whole like back at NASA, back at headquarters, they're like, how can we bring him home alive? Like, how can we do this? And like every single idea that they had basically was falling short, dying, upon a liftoff or launch. It's like there's like 3 or 4 things like in a row that they kept trying, and I was like, that's kind of like you. He makes it in the end. Like I knew that, but it just felt so like chummy at the end. From the moment that like the crew actually knew that they were going back to get him, from that moment to the end, I was just like, yeah, that's where I would restructure some of the movie.
Yeah.
Because none of the comedy really hit, I didn't think, after that. Not nearly as much. The drama was like forcing itself on you then, whereas in the first 2/3 of it felt very natural. Holy crap, this guy's the only guy on the planet. Oh man, he has to make water out of hydrogen. Oh man, he has to do this. Whereas like I said, the last third, it was just like, why are they stripping down this rocket ship to take him into space? He's gonna die.
We're gonna put a tarp over it,
and then he's gonna like cut his little finger, or he cut his hand off,
yeah.
or the little air. But I don't know. That's where I felt. If you want to talk about like the drama and all that stuff, where it landed, but
Well, I mean, it was a rewatch for me too, and I guess that didn't really hit me quite the same way, because I think I'm still, if there's a movie in space, I'm very much on board.
yeah, same here.
And if it's like, it doesn't even have to be a very good movie. If you're in
True.
space, I'm gonna have a good time.
It's gonna be pretty,
You know,
and I want
space,
to watch it.
Space Truckers has proven
I was
that
gonna say, there's
space
the pigs.
makes everything better.
It does.
What do you mean, space sweepers?
Oh, those are.
You know,
Let me backtrack.
I still
don't remember which one was which.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But the space buoyed it up quite a bit, and I think the space mixed with a lot of like good science and good like showing of kind of what actually would be going on. Like I liked towards the end where they were doing all that testing and stuff, but it was like it was cutting between them saying like, hey, put a hole in the top of this vehicle, and then it was showing them on site with a exact
rover.
replica,
Right.
doing the exact same thing that they were telling him to do because that's what they really do.
True.
Anytime they go and like make an adjustment to a remote reconnaissance vehicle out on Mars, they have a real one here, and they're like, all right, let's make sure this works here before we do it there. And I liked that sort of stuff quite a bit. So that didn't bother me quite as much, even on a second watch.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I wonder what Price thinks. With this being his second watch, did the dramas really hold up for him?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Let's
let's check in with him.
Yeah, check in on that.
Soul 23 finally got in contact with NASA, and the very first thing that they asked me is not how am I doing, not how am I holding up, how I like potatoes, or anything like that. First thing they ask is, how was my second watch of the movie? I haven't seen it before, so don't have anything to say about that. Signing out.
I agree, Price. I do think that Jessica Chastain is too pretty. I guess we can. Unless we have any other thoughts, we can start to transition to the question.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask about like
who's cuter, Jessica Chastain or Kate Mara?
Oh, we already know the answer to that.
It's Kate Mara.
It is.
Yeah.
No, my question was going to be as far as like space movies go. Did you guys think that this one did its justice as far as like the visuals, basically just the sound overall, and then like, are there better space movies?
Well, the second question first. I definitely think there are better space movies. Honestly,
so I feel like that question needs a qualifier. Better realistic space movies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Don't
more
give me
spacey, more
do not
sci-fi.
give me Star Wars.
Star Wars is not a space movie.
I agree.
It's set in space. It's a fantasy movie.
Right.
I meant as in like.
Yeah, like if we put this with like Gravity or Interstellar or something of that, like grounded real world sci-fi space, right? I mean, I think this movie hangs enough. Like, there's a lot of fun science, and I think the science part is definitely the most entertaining and interesting part when they're breaking down, like, how would you survive on a planet that's not Earth. They showed us the big CGI space stations, and they gave us explosions and tension. You got to have that.
So it's a pretty wild space station to have built to travel from Earth to Mars.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the idea that a space station has like a room where everybody's sitting at a table like discussing something,
chilling.
That is so extra in itself. Like
an entire gym.
Yeah.
Think about like the gym that you need is one piece of this, one treadmill.
Well, and if you look at like what a space station looks like these days and the kind of exercise equipment and such that's in there, like that's a huge leap in technology envisioned in this world in which we are only making that what most people would say is like the next big step for humanity of going to Mars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that overall though I think that while I appreciate its grounded realism, I kind of wanted a little bit more sci-fi from it. Because I think
wanted a monster to be chasing them through.
Well, not even that far much, right? Like I think it's kind of hard not to compare this to Interstellar because it has Matt Damon in both. He literally was right back to back with it.
It is not the same.
It's not. No, it's not.
It is nowhere
near. And especially on the tail end of it. But for the first like 2/3 of Interstellar, right? When it's staying relatively grounded, but the one like very jarring thing would be like the big robot thing that chugs around. I like that it gave me a little bit further on like that.
I really thought we could get through the review without like comparing the two. I knew that it was going to be dropped.
Yeah,
but I did not think that we were actually going to compare the two because this is nothing.
Well, it's a very relative question, right? You're sitting there and saying like, up until they start going into like the other dimensions, Interstellar stays.
Just that simple.
I know. But if anybody watches Interstellar,
up until love was the answer.
Up until love is the answer. That movie stays fairly grounded in its science and stuff like that. So,
well, what they force on you, yeah. I still can't tell you why it was 4 seconds per year on that planet. Anyways.
Oh, I can. That just makes common sense, right? It's all.
Well, they were in like a black hole planet, like.
Well, and time's incredibly like. our conception of time is
the
based on
whole-
Earth's units and laps around
And
the world.
our universe.
But if our universe is so distantly far away, like, yeah, it's gonna. The way we gauge, we're still gauging it on Earth time. We're just gauging it against something else.
Listen, you're just
But
eating the
that's-
beans that they're giving you.
Souls.
No, I mean that is very much based on like real
science,
with, like,
yeah.
the distortion,
Real science of the
gravity,
black hole
the
that they went
distortion
into,
of gravity
yeah.
and time and how light but that's not the point. So I kind of wanted a little bit more, is my long story short. I could have done, give me a sandworm, like, whatever. Give me a little,
just a little one,
just a little one,
baby.
a little baby
Yeah,
one,
it just pops his head out of the sand. He accidentally steps on it.
Yeah, or
Little Easter egg.
give me a train with a bunch of Martian ghosts on it and Ice Cube.
Fuck.
Like, Nathan knows this reference.
I'm not sure. Like it's.
Is it Ice Cube?
What movie was
Ghost
that?
of Mars?
No, I've never seen that.
What?
I want to see
That's
that.
such a
now.
Nathan-
You just pitched a great movie.
Dude, that's gonna end up on his wheel picks
My
here real
God.
soon. Dude,
Ghost Train of Mars with Ice Cube.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like Ice Cube or something. Like, I think that's the lead on
Oh,
it.
Cool
But
J or something.
yeah, maybe whatever. I remember it's one of those
Okay.
like relevant '90s actors. Dude, I'm amazed.
Okay.
We'll talk more
Yeah,
later.
well-
Price, what do you think about this question?
Soul 57. Been down here a bit longer. Finally found a place to hold up, call my own. Here at the Hab, I am creating more potatoes with this contraption back here. It's going great. But the next thing NASA asked me was, are there better space movies? And in my opinion, no. I think this is one of the best depictions of space and the kind of trials that come with it. But I think Matt Damon is still incredibly put together after being on an inhospitable planet for over a year. At the end, he does look kind of haggard, but not near as much as somebody who hasn't brushed their teeth or done anything like that in a long time. It's only Dave, whatever I said earlier, but I hope I look half as good as him at the end of that trip. Signing out.
All right.
You're so funny,
He's
Price.
wrong again.
But let's get into the shape of this movie. Fat, thin, perfectly fit. I'm feeling a little chubby after ski daddies, but Mason, you go ahead and take us to the top on this one.
I think that this movie is fit overall. I know I said earlier that it gets chummy at the end, where, honest to God, I think one of my biggest issues with it was when he was doing his little Iron Man thing, and then they finally locked together and they locked
And they're
eyes.
swirling around just
Oh
for
my
the effect of having all the tether just
Yes.
encircling.
It was
them.
gorgeous,
Yeah.
I mean, visually.
but
Yeah.
man, that was so stupid.
It's going to take forever to untether that.
To be fair though, I don't know how how tactile and grippy those gloves are that they're
It's
having to
true.
wear in space.
It could be.
It could be very slick.
It could be hard to hold on with
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, because
I imagine
once
it's
he was on the
long.
rope, I'm like, you're fine.
Yeah, just
Just
survive.
hold the rope.
Just hold it.
Hold it. And granted, he does try. I guess he's trying to close one hand because that.
I would
Also,
have done a fingertip.
dude,
by the way.
also, I'm pretty sure the science of
Yeah,
how
but he
cold
wanted
it
to
is.
be Iron Man.
Yeah, he wanted to be Iron Man. I'm also fairly convinced that with my 0 degrees in science, that space is so cold. If he's letting that into his suit, that it would be fucking up some shit.
He's got a pretty chilly palm.
That has to be. Dude, that's to be way worse than chilly. That's got to be I don't know, frostburn. Something
True.
like that. Space is cold.
But yeah, as far as the movie itself, I do think it's very fit, and I do think that they ran with the runtime how they needed to. This movie's over 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's a little over that, and it's. I definitely felt it just a little bit, but I do think that they used their time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, they had a couple of catastrophes, right? They had the initial windstorm, then they had his whatever the heck happened, where it blew the vessel
the breach.
out.
And
the breach.
Yeah, on that one.
But you have to have that stuff, Same thing at the very end. They had to basically send him up on a roller coaster at 60 G's.
Yeah. But yeah, he passed out.
12 G's.
12 G's.
Was it just 12?
Just a
Okay,
small
I'm glad you
little
caught
12
it. I
Gs.
couldn't. Yeah,
12 gallons of milk.
love it.
Which is why it was so slow to get up there.
I felt like it just took 12 grams of heroin.
This movie is a smidge doughy. So I would say that, yeah, some of the Donald Glover eccentricness of it is parts where I'm like, I'll probably thin this up. Actually, I think we just don't even have to figure it out. Literally, I think you could even just have cut out Donald Glover, which is not to say that he's bad in it. It's just that his character is it's a little much for this movie. And then you just have like the word get to to the crew, and then the crew figures out a way to do this. And I think that's just as strong without any extra added actors.
Yeah, you could have had somebody on that crew
put together
that whole trajectory thing.
Right.
You didn't need to have this made up math autistic super genius.
Yeah.
And didn't they do that on like Apollo 13? The whole like slingshot idea of like,
so,
oh my gosh, we could just use this whatever planet that they went to's orbit to just push us back even faster. It's been done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing to do.
Yeah, and I don't know that it needs.
It's
like
my favorite thing to do in space.
The only thing is like the whole rendezvousing with your supply container.
Yeah, I don't know how that.
Oopsies. Too fast.
Hail Mary.
Oh well.
They dropped it.
Win some, you lose some. Sometimes.
Well, talking about that kind of stuff too. So one thing that I found very annoying too was the guy that was on the outside of the spaceship just like pushing himself along and then grabbing tethered it all. I was like,
I'm like, shut the fuck. Get on the tether. Yeah, there's no way that's not approved.
That was very like. There's no way that is an okay.
And that was when it was spinning.
Right.
Like, that was before they got it to stop spinning and like.
Dude, that guy sneezes and he's dead.
That's Sebastian Stan, though.
I know. That's Winter Soldier. That's how they find him.
That's how he is. That's who he is.
It's true. He's a man without fear.
Yeah, I mean, overall, length of the movie, I was okay with it. Yeah, I mean, I do have a complaint, and now that you mentioned Donald Glover, his character, it's nothing against him. It's just his character didn't really need to be there.
Yeah.
And as we've kind of
super
discussed,
easy rewrite.
It could have been rewritten to where it didn't need to be.
They literally just have the same mutiny talk scene right after.
I would have said this movie was fit because it's just like take it for what it is. Nothing really is too egregious, but. Yeah, if you could rewrite that, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, or just take it out entirely, and like you said, just have someone else dawn on it.
Did so? I don't know why I don't have
Why don't
awards.
you go to space?
Ridley Scott keeps taking my ship.
First Alien.
Well, I know.
Speaking of space and ships, what does Price think about the shape of this movie?
Yeah, let's ask him.
Price?
It's day 69 in space, and I have finally finished watching The Martian, and it's just been so long that it took me to finish that movie that I've lost all my clothes. I've even found this puppy in space. It's just taking so long to finish this movie. It's so fat. It just indulges itself with cameos, with celebrities, with doing the minutia stuff in space. It's just such a fat movie. I mean, the good thing that came out of this movie being so long is that, again, I found this puppy. But other than that, so long. Biggest knock I have against this movie, and has kept me in space for far too long. Hopefully I'll find my clothes. Hopefully I'll be able to find someone to give this puppy to. But, man, this movie's long. So long. Signing out.
Always a buzzkill.
Always the
my
contrary.
Gosh, I cannot believe this guy. Better
Yeah.
get that button out though. I think he's really feeling it.
I think he's gonna hit it. I think he's gonna hit
this
it.
is the one.
But let's go ahead and transition over into scores. Nathan, you want to take us on top on this one?
Actually, let's let Price give it.
You're right.
Let's go back to Price.
Back to Price really quick because I like back and forth cuts.
Yeah, I do that. This is fun.
Price. Whoa! I can't believe it! I can't believe he said this was a perfect movie.
Holy crap!
And he said he got it more than the instructions for this review and Jojo Rabbit. Wow!
And he wasn't confused at all.
He understood it deeper than Inception.
Yeah.
Big brain.
The dude's a
moment
mastermind.
Wow,
I mean, he is out on Mars right now.
He's out.
He knows what he's talking about.
He knows how to survive on Mars. I don't know how to
He's a
survive
space
on Mars.
pirate.
I couldn't. Yeah, he's a space pirate and a space terrorist, which is crazy because he's
Space
white.
terrorist.
Nathan, I guess you want to follow up on scores.
Sure. So, I wouldn't go so far as sorry.
Just throw it.
I mean, it's a really good movie. Space bumps you up. The way you say that there's a bar for like animated
Animated?
stuff for you guys.
Space is just sitting around
Space
7.5
has its
for it.
own bar
No.
that generally starts at like 7 and then can go up.
It can
Oh,
go
yeah.
up, maybe
Yeah,
down. If they've
maybe
done
down.
terribly, but...
Yeah, well, it's possible, but you're starting off good.
Yeah, you're ahead of the game.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And this movie overall does a lot of really good things. Second watch of it, I still I was laughing. I felt the emotional beats too. It's funny because I've seen this movie before, and I still as he was trying to grab the tether and stuff, I was like, oh, is
Well, she
the
does.
slugs are probably
Slippery
really hard
for
to
you.
hold on.
Yeah.
I was gonna get it because I just forgot exactly how that whole sequence wrapped.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think overall I'm gonna give this an 8.5. It's
nice.
really good. It almost hits a 9, but there's a couple of more little knocks that keep it down.
Yeah.
Feel that.
There wasn't big robots that was picking up Anne Hathaway.
There wasn't a little tiny sandworm
Yeah.
that would have put me over.
biting his little toe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have rounded up for that one, but this one lands at this 37.5. It's a good movie still. I still think it's a bit distracting with the star-studded cast of it. I think it's a little unnecessary for them to just be that many big actors, and for whatever reason it just distracted me from the movie, and I remember missing on the emotional beats that I had the first time watching it, and I felt like some suspense was gone from it too. But the overall enjoyment of it, Matt Damon's scenes are all super fun. I think he has a very just fun straight humor, straight man humor with it. And it's just interesting enough. The science stuff on it, I like to geek out on science. I would never get a science degree, but I like Hollywood science. That seems to be a cool class I would like to take.
Yeah.
But
Convenient science.
Right.
Yeah.
Convenient science for when I'm trapped on Mars. The practical stuff.
It's like dummies. For dummies.
It is. So I think it's a very good 7.5.
Yeah, so the exposition in this movie, which I didn't mention earlier, I should have. I think that they did it very, very well. Within the first, it was after the sandstorm happened and they left him. As soon as he got back in there, he was like, all right, let's do the math. He's talking right to you. He's talking right to the camera. He just lists these probably 6 bullet points that are all very quick, simple, feed me, and just move on.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about oxygen levels, talking about this is how long I can live. If I do this, then this happens. If I do that, then that happens. If I run out of that, then the whole thing is kaput. So I thought that was incredible because we do have those exposition dumps, halfway through movies sometimes where you're just like, oh, so stupid.
Right.
I do like the comedy, especially whenever he digs up the plutonium, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And he's just sweating from head to toe. He's like, good news, I fixed the heat problem.
Yeah, not cold anymore.
Yeah.
Plutonium isotope. Yeah.
And also the touch on later on, a year passes roughly, or souls, 300 and some odd souls.
Earth
pass.
time. Yeah.
And he's got some serious rashes on his back. Remember whenever he grew the big beard?
Yeah,
so
and his face is kind of breaking out.
Yeah,
more,
it kind of touches on that later on, which I really appreciated. This movie is still an 8.5 for me. I think that, I know Nathan, you said that on rewatch it was all good. I think that this movie is super good upon first watch, as long as you're in it. Second watch, it's still good, but like you said too, there's some things that just kind of knock it down.
Kate Mara doesn't have to stink as poop. I don't believe you.
I just like that her and Sebastian Stan, for whatever reason. I mean, let's
just put them in there.
Yeah. They're both single, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8.5 for me. I think it's well warranted as far as that kind of stuff goes.
Besides us, trustworthy critics here on the couch and in Mars, what did everybody else think about this movie?
Well, I know on IMDb it has a 8 from users, and I'm checking on this.
Well, we don't trust the Prime users.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, they're the worst.
But as far as typed in Martian. Okay, good.
There you go.
On Rotten Tomatoes. Sorry, it was just the 12th option.
Yeah, so many other Martian movies.
Must not have been too good.
Ghost of Mars on there.
Yeah. Rounded out to be 91% for both audience and critics. So yeah, I guess
that tracks. This seems like a movie that if you walk in, that's
Spacey,
really high for
It's surprising for him to be
both
at
across
parity
the
with
board.
one another.
Yeah,
That's really unusual.
dead even.
Actually, I think the thing that shocks me from that is as much how much the critics like it. Because not to say that this is a bad critical movie by any stretch of the means, but I think at 91, that's like a very like.
Well, and also for it to be a book to film adaptation.
Yeah, book to film adaptation.
That's
right.
I think the most surprising because I'm assuming that in the book he's probably just as witty, just as snarky. Something we didn't mention was like all the chat back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that they did that really well too. They didn't force it or anything. They just a couple scenes where they were basically IMing back and forth,
right.
and they couldn't have any context other than what he was writing down. But yeah, so without further ado,
I think it's that time to spin the wheel, and I think
should
we
we have
price.
We
to
should
it.
probably have price.
We should have price to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold it.
Yeah.
Price when you're ready.
I've made it home. Sold a 100,067,000,004. I've made it home. Thanks to the crew members of the Effin' Movie Podcast, I have returned home, and I brought that dog with me, and he has made himself at home. But to finish off, the last thing I need to say is the score for this movie, and it is a 6. It's a little above average. Not too bad. It does the space stuff very well with him having to survive, but the celebrity cameos and the length of this movie, it's not Excalibur egregious, but it's long. And that's the last check-in I have. God bless America.
And then I figure we'll just cut.
Yeah, and then
just
cut it as soon as you're rolling.
As the spin is like all right. Now.
Yeah, all right, that's okay.
All right, go ahead and spin it, and then I'll do like the wave to kind of like cue your editing.
Good spin, Price.
Wow, Price.
Wow.
A lot of force behind
Here
that
comes retro review. What is it?
None of us looked.
House on Haunted Hill. All of these Oh Brothers and Gladiators and House on Haunted Hill, but it was my slice. So that's the best slice.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Just after Halloween.
I always like to throw it a little, like a kind of a not so good movie.
Oh,
yeah, shit.
Guess what?
Well,
Here
we're there. So I guess make sure to tune in next week. House on Haunted Hill, not to be confused with Ghost of Mars. Go watch that too.
Man, if only it were Ghost of Mars.
Oh, I know. Well, too bad. Sorry, you put House on Haunted Hill.
Well,
Ghost of Mars probably isn't a very good movie either, but which means you'll like it even more for it.
yeah.
Anyway, guys, that's our show. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell. Oh, you can't because he's in Mars. But hit us in the comments.
Throw a rock up at the sky.
Just throw rocks up.
As
Yeah.
far as you can.
Throw rocks upwards, preferably at your neighbors' houses. And let us know in the comments below ask us, how did we get somebody to Mars on this podcast's budget? We don't know either.
It's a financial conundrum.
Nathan said
we just
that.
threw a tarp over it and
Then launched it into space. What if all the queuing clips, it was like Price was just unconscious, like in a tarp background?
It's like, yeah. So in The Martian, he lived.
Yeah, and
but
this
in
is-
our version,
because we aren't good engineers.
Yeah, he kind of
Also,
sucks.
there's no habitation there.
No.
He just went.
He just whoops.
He didn't have potatoes or poop.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let us know who you think's the smelliest poop of this cast is in the comments below, and give us a thumbs up because we watch movies that smell like poop for you. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya on the House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be on it. The hill,
On it.
not the house.
It's dangerous.
Not in Mars either.